Today I'm going to be discussing the class action lawsuit against the National Association of Realtors and why I'm not going to be worried about it. If this is your first time to the channel, my name is Frank Kritzman. I'm a real estate agent in the Panhandle of Florida, and I'm doing what I can to help new agents get started because when I got started, I didn't have anybody, and it's not easy. I'm just going to pull this up on my screen real quick. As you can see, yesterday the court decision was made and the plaintiffs were awarded $1.8 billion in this little class action suit with the National Association of Realtors and a few brokerages. Keller Williams was in there. And essentially, the whole idea of the case was that these brokerages are colluding to keep commission prices at a high point. And I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on it and why personally, literally nothing is changing for me. I'm not worried about it at all. And I did a little bit of peeking around, and I know there's other people out there and other coaches and things like that who, and pretty much everybody is just freaking out, and they're just really way over exaggerating it. I'm seeing a lot of the usual responses. There's a lot of people saying things like commissions will be completely gone tomorrow and buy my course, bro, because that's how I'm going to save you. The whole thing to remember with this entire situation is that it's pretty much just all fear, right? People are just going to be pushing out fear because it's sensational, and I'm sorry that you came to this video, and I'm not going to be pumping you full of fear and nonsense. One thing that I've been seeing a lot is this little screen grab of Zillow's stock price after the whole thing came out and the trial was finalized. People are saying that Zillow's stock price is crashing and everything is falling to the ground and literally everything is on fire. But I want you to look at this graph, okay? This was just like just a few minutes after the settlement came out. The stock price fell by $2, 6.85%. I'm going to pull up. I have the Zillow stocks here. This is the 5-day chart. Yeah, okay, they dropped from about $38 to $35 at the low point yesterday, and then back up to about $36. So they dropped $2, which is about 7%, 5%, in the course of a day. Okay, so I would hardly say that stock price is crashing. And just so you can kind of get a full picture, I'm going to back out on the stock price of Zillow for the month. Month over month, okay, they're down from $45 to $35. So the whole month they're down by $10, and just, in one day they dropped $2. Is that a big deal? I don't know. You can decide. I'm also not a stock expert, so you can take what I say with a grain of salt. Their year chart, I mean, they were already kind of on a downtrend from the middle of the summer anyways, so you can just take that with a grain of salt. Just want you to think about the full perspective here. There's going to be tons of people just kind of blasting out fear and propaganda. The very short version of my opinion about this whole suit is that I don't think anything is going to change at all. I actually think that at some point this ruling may even get overturned. I think the whole thing is bogus. I don't understand how exactly brokerages are colluding to keep commission prices high when I was at one of these brokerages that are allegedly keeping prices high. So I think the whole thing is bogus. I think it's going to get overturned because it's nonsense. In my personal opinion, what is keeping the buyers' commission rates where they are is the open free market. Everybody is kind of going off on this thing right now in like the real estate agent Facebook groups where they're talking about how, everybody's going to put the buyer's agent commission to $1 or $0. And people just they don't even think that can happen right now. Like, you can take a listing right now, at least in Florida. Here's how it works in Florida. Right now, you can take a listing and you can put the buyer's agent commission at $1 if you want to. You could put it at $1. So everybody's freaking out saying that this is going to happen even though it's something that you could have done 2 days ago. It's really not a big deal. But from what I've seen so far over the last few years, now I haven't been doing this very long, but I've been full-time for right about 3 years now. So what I've seen so far is that it seems like when we're in a market position where there are lots of buyers and lots of transactions, it seems like the overall average commission kind of comes down a little bit. That's what's offered for buyer's agents. And when we're in a situation like we are right now, at least in this local market, I wouldn't say there's really scarcity. There are not a lot of buyers, and there just are less transactions happening right now. It's just a fact. That's just the way that it is. So when you're in this situation that we're in right now, where there's less transactions going on, I've been seeing the overall average. Just, I have no hard data to back this up, but just kind of what I'm seeing is that the buyer's commission is trending up a little bit. So that kind of leads me into the conversation that you should already be having with your sellers, which is the conversation that I have with my sellers. Anytime we sit down and we have the commission talk, here's kind of a ballpark of how it goes. When we sit down, I talk to that seller and I say, look, this commission is made up of two parts, right? So there is the part that's for me, and we can kind of talk about what my portion is going to be. And then there's the other portion of this commission that is for the buyer's agent. And I've seen a lot of Facebook posts from real estate agents, which leads me to believe that they are not having this portion of the conversation about how much of that is actually going to a buyer's agent. But here on the listing contracts in Florida, there is a spot on the listing agreement to how much is going to a cooperating brokerage. That means that you need to be having that talk with that seller, and you both need to come to an agreement on how much that amount is going to be. So when I have that conversation, I say, look, typically the kind of the standard in the area is, I would say the lowest end is about 2%, and kind of on the high end is 3%. And that's just what we would offer to a buyer's agent. Right in the middle is about 2.5%. Now, there's really no way to guarantee this, but there is a possibility that if you offer a lower amount than that 2% or then lower than that 2.5%, that there are going to be less real estate agents that are going to show their clients to your house because they kind of want to get a check too. So you need to let your sellers know that's a real possibility. And if you think about it, that's just going to happen. Is that kind of crappy? Yes. Is that something that I do? No. Me personally, I don't even look at what the buyer's agent commission is on a particular house until after we're under contract. Like, I don't care. It's not something that bothers me. It's not something that I even look at. It is what it is. It's not a big deal. The point is, that is just a conversation that you need to have with your sellers. And if you're in a situation where there are tons of houses and there's tons of buyers, right? If there's 10 houses for sale and they're all kind of similar, if you're in one of those markets, and the houses are pretty much all the same, and one house is offering 3% to a buyer's agent and all the other houses are offering 1% to a buyer's agent, which one of those houses do you think is more likely to have agents showing the house and more likely to get an offer? That's just the reality of the situation. So here in this area, in my market, up in the panhandle of Florida, there's nothing artificially keeping that percentage where it is, right? There's nobody breathing down my neck saying it needs to be this amount. There's nobody that's told me that. This is just the trends that I'm seeing over time, and I'm relaying that information to sellers. So essentially right there, that's the whole reasoning why I'm not really worried about what's going to happen to buyer agent commissions. I don't think they're going to go away. I think everything is going to be fine because the free market is kind of setting the rates on them right now. And obviously the big question you're going to be asking yourself is, how can I diversify in going into the future, making sure that you have a good mix of buyers and sellers pushing forward as we move into the next season? My personal answer and what I'm doing is diversifying. I'm sending out direct letters, handwritten letters, and I see that Ricky Caruth is all up on that now, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty fun strategy that I did about a year ago, and I found a little success with. Obviously, I didn't come up with it, right? Handwritten letters, that's been around for as long as real estate, as long as sales has been around. So it's not like it's my thing, but I was doing it a year ago, found a little bit of success, recently picked it back up again, and it's cool to see other people going after it too, because I think cold calling, in my opinion, obviously people are still going to get some success with it, but in my opinion, it's either dying or completely dead. If it's not dead already, it will be very soon. The other thing you can do to diversify your your lead sources is doing a YouTube channel. I recently had my first closing from an inbound YouTube channel, just one of those living in your city, living in blank city, where you talk about the pros and cons of moving to your particular area. And so that channel is not big. I think there's like 80 something subscribers on that channel. And when I actually had the first closing, I only had 60 subscribers on that channel. So that's a good source, and obviously that's going to bring you some buyers in. So I'm targeting sellers with the letters. I'm doing buyers with the YouTube channels. This year, I'm also going to focus on being a little bit more deliberate with providing value to my sphere of influence. I'm not going to do the traditional things where you just go and call through your entire database and text your entire database and tell them you want to do a CMA form. That's not the stuff I'm going to do. I'm just going to try to be more involved and be myself and kind of focus on being just being a friend, because that is how most people are picking the real estate agents, is they have a friend in the business. So that's the route that I'm going to be going. The other thing I'm going to be doing this year is continually trying to build with EXP. At the beginning of the year, I partnered with Mike Sherrard and joined under him in EXP. Very glad that I did. Moving to EXP was a good choice. I'm a little disappointed that I didn't do it sooner, but that's just kind of the way it goes. Everybody lives and learns. So I spent the first 2 years at Keller Williams, and I've already started building up stocks with EXP passively, and I'd like to continue building my downline. I think all those different methods are going to be great for diversification later on down the road. So that is my plan. If you have any questions about lead generation, make sure you go down in the comments and ask them. I'd be happy to help out. Might be a little slow answering comments because my son he takes up a lot of time. For all the parents out there that still manage to get things done with a little kid, geez, good on you. I don't know how you do it. But yeah, go ahead and ask your questions down in the comments. Let me know what you think about the NAR, National Association of Realtors lawsuit. Hope you have a great day. Get out there and do some work.